Yeah, so I'm just going to start getting into it, and just so that you all know, I will be sending out a kind of follow-up message after this session with the slide deck as well as a recording if you want to re-review. But also, just as a reminder, I'm happy to chat with you one-on-one at any point if there's anything I can help you with. And I just want to ensure, and it looks like I am recording, so I just wanted to double check before we go ahead and get started. Yeah, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Shauna Strauss. I'm the Assistant Director for Career Development at the Career Center at Santa Clara University, and my focus is supporting our students that are in the arts, humanities, and public sector majors. I've been at Santa Clara for close to 6 years, but joined the Career Center team this past April, and my main role will be supporting this mentorship program, at least as it runs through October and March. But I'm also joined today by a few other staff members. Zach, do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Shauna. Appreciate it. Pleasure to be here with all of you today. My name is Zach Plaza with the Santa Clara University Alumni Association, and a fellow Bronco myself, class of 2007, and was a communication major. So also an art and science is alum as well. So happy to be helping to support this program. I serve as a project manager as well for Bronco Exchange, which is the platform we'll be using to help us manage this mentorship program. So happy to answer any questions around Bronco Exchange and be a support system for Shauna as well as all of you. But really looking forward to it and excited to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Zach. And Colleen, if you wouldn't mind just briefly introducing yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Colleen Withers. I'm the director of the career development team here in the Career Center, and so excited to have this pilot kickoff for the mentorship program. So really appreciate you all being here.
Awesome. Thank you both. So for this session, we'll be going over the program. I'm going to talk a little bit about the timeline, how you become a mentor, what the matching process looks like, additional resources that are available to you, and maybe like expectations and how you might interact with your mentee. But I do want to allow for time for you to ask any questions that you might have as well. As a reminder, I can be your main point of contact for the program. This is my email address, sstrauss, but you're also welcome to give me a call. This is my number, 408-554-4861. And then I'm also happy to meet over Zoom, really whatever is easiest for you. But please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if I can help in any way. So, as Colleen mentioned, this is our first pilot mentorship program that we're running through Bronco Exchange. And we are targeting current seniors as mentees who are in our humanities and social sciences programs. So it's a specific group of majors. And we're hoping to bring in as many alums as we can to support these students as mentors. Alums we're targeting from these majors, but if you graduated from a major different from humanities or social sciences, but you feel like your career path or your current work is relevant to these students, then we'll definitely consider you as a mentor. But if you have any questions about that, please feel free to connect with me. And as I mentioned before, our student outreach for inviting mentees, we're starting with seniors. And, if we have a ton of alums that join, then we can expand that. But for now, because this is a pilot rollout, we will be starting with our seniors this fall. And the way that this program will be hosted and administered will be through Bronco Exchange. So Bronco Exchange is Santa Clara University's primary platform for connecting the community. So students, alumni, faculty, staff, you could create a profile and should create a profile today and can connect with other alums through this platform or students as well. And it's meant to create these networking opportunities for our students and for our alumni. So it offers kind of more informal networking and mentorship. And then what we're doing with this program is a formal mentorship program that is hosted on the platform. And I will demo that for you today as well. The purpose of this mentorship program is to create more opportunities for meaningful connections between our students and alumni, because we recognize that mentorship, especially what our alumni have to offer, is a key point in career development for our students. So, when you meet with your mentee, you'll establish some goals that you would like to achieve together. And we're recommending between 3 to 4 meetings that happen starting in end of October when the program launches to mid-March. And this is not a requirement. You're not required to have 4 meetings, but it's our recommendation in terms of having kind of a more successful interaction with your mentee. In terms of a timeline, we're asking that alumni complete their Bronco Exchange profiles and the matching questions by September 15th. I would be super happy if you're interested in joining and becoming a mentor for you to complete those questions this weekend. That would be amazing, but our deadline is September 15th. And the purpose of that is to have our alumni be loaded into the program on Bronco Exchange before the students join. So the students will join and be invited to join the week that they start classes, and their deadline is October 13th to favorite mentors. So they will also have matching questions, and they will also be given an opportunity to view all of the mentors who've joined and favorite their top 3. Matches will be announced October 17th, so just a few days after, and then we'll have our kickoff dinner on campus in Benson on October 24th. And then it's kind of up to you and your mentee to have these one-on-one conversations through March, and that's when the program completes. So what are your first steps? The first thing that you'll need to do is make sure that you have a Bronco Exchange profile, either creating it or updating it. You can actually sync it with your LinkedIn. So that way you don't have to fill in a bunch of information, but I would just make sure that you feel good about how complete your profile is, because your mentee will be reviewing that information and deciding kind of who their top mentor favorites are. And I'll get into that in just a moment and can clarify that a little bit more as well. So I do want to share with you that once you have a profile, you can join the program. Right now, this is privately listed, so only those with the link can request to join. And then you'll be given your registration questions. So these are the matching questions that help us optimally match you with a mentee, and will ultimately approve your request to join as a mentor. So I'm just going to quickly share this with you. So when you click on the link, this is what you'll come to. This is Bronco Exchange, and specifically it's within the mentorship program. You can review the overview of the program, but this is also information that's been shared with you previously, but please feel free to take a look at this. And then you'll click join, and you'll automatically receive like a fill-in different matching questions that you'll complete. And then just briefly, you can go to the homepage for Bronco Exchange and take a look at the rest of the platform as well. And if you wanted to edit your profile, you can click on my profile, and I could refresh my LinkedIn data. I probably need to do that. I could add a section, but I would recommend to you to just read through your profile if you have one already, and make sure you include anything like hobbies, or if you're a first generation student, if that's important to you, want to be matched with another student with a similar background, or what career stage are you in? Any clubs that you were involved with at Santa Clara, any information that you think might be useful for a student to know. So how will the matching work? So as I mentioned before, you'll have matching questions that you'll complete, and same with the students. The students will also have similar matching questions that ultimately Bronco Exchange helps us with the matching based on your answers to the questions. Students will also be asked to favorite up to 3 mentors. So they'll be able to see the full list of mentors that have joined the program. I do want to share that favoriting data is not it's private. So only administrators of the program like myself will be able to see that information. So you won't see if you're favorited. Other mentors won't see that information at all. It's purely so that we can see kind of what student preferences are, and it allows students to really lead the matching process. Ultimately, we will be approving the matches depending on demand. So depending on how many alums and students sign up, some mentors may have 2 matches, and that's actually a question that we ask in the matching questions when you first join. It is possible to receive no matches. I'm hoping that will be very limited, but I do want to just put that out there that it could happen. Oh, and I just skipped over that. You may be matched with a different major. And honestly, I think that will be pretty common, because you might have somebody who's graduated from one major and pursued a career on a different path. And I think that's perfectly fine. There's a lot of overlap with some of these majors. All right, so how can you support your mentee? So like I mentioned previously, we're recommending between 3 to 4 conversations with your mentee, starting end of October through March. These can be in person. They can all be virtual over the phone. You can even set up your meetings through Bronco Exchange as well, if that's your preference. And I would recommend that in your first meeting, you establish some goals, or kind of how you want the mentorship to look throughout this process. And during that kickoff dinner, we will have some exercises where you'll be able to meet with your mentee and establish those goals and establish rapport from the start. Some recommendations in terms of like different ways that you can interact with your mentee. I might recommend to a mentee to have an informational interview with you. So asking you questions about your career path, informational questions to help them determine whether that's a good fit for them, or what types of companies to look into. They might want to know about your experience at Santa Clara. So, if you're matched with the same major, they might have questions about classes or clubs. That might come up. Having one meeting just to go over their resume could be really beneficial to them, especially if they're looking to go into a similar industry as you. LinkedIn review. I know this isn't possible for every position, but if you're able to offer job shadowing, bringing the mentee to your place of work for an hour or so, could be a really valuable experience for them. You could both attend a campus event that you find interesting, and that could be a fun way to interact as well. We do have more suggestions in the mentorship handbook on page 8, but I'm also happy to chat with you if you need a little additional guidance as well. We do have additional resources that you can review on your own time. So I mentioned that you can connect with me, of course. There's the Student Alumni Mentorship Handbook. In our follow-up email to this meeting, I'll send it out again, but it's also in that group. So you can review it in the resources section of the group. And then there's also a training pathway that you will be assigned once you join the program. So in the group, there's this resources tab that you can click, and the mentorship handbook is here, and you can review it as a PDF or download it. So that's already available. And then once you join the program, you can also select pathways here under the main resources tab for all of Bronco Exchange. And you'll be assigned a specific becoming an effective mentor pathway. And it's great. It's about 8 different sections. It breaks down becoming an effective mentor, different suggestions, and it's mostly videos as well. Not a requirement to complete this pathway. So it will say something like due March 15th. But I think it's a good resource if you haven't mentored before, and maybe trying to complete it before we meet in end of October. And then we'll have this kickoff dinner in October. You'll be meeting with your mentee. We have our department chairs. Some of them are coming to this as well. And we'll be sending out more details, but the plan is to host this in Benson. in the evening. And it is a requirement to participate in this program. Please email me if you have additional questions about the kickoff dinner and participating in the program. Okay, so I would love to answer any questions you have, big or small. So please feel free to either type in the chat or come off mute.
Where do we find the link to the group that you were
Yes,
mentioning?
great question. I'm actually just going to put that into the chat right now. I have sent it in my last email communication, but you might not have received it. So in my follow-up to this, I'll also include it. But let me just get that and that into the chat to make things easier.
Great, thank you.
If this pilot program is successful, will we have the opportunity to serve as mentors again in the future during other semesters?
Of course, yeah, we would love to have returning alumni. You know, I don't have an answer in terms of what the future iterations of this will look like. But the hope is to expand it. And if you have a great experience being a mentor, strongly encourage you to come back. And then I would also say, you know, let's say it's done in March and you're like, I'm ready to talk with a student right now, and the program isn't running until the following fall. You could still connect with students on Bronco Exchange and have that kind of more informal connection through the platform as well.
Okay, thanks.
Put the program link into the chat. Was there another question?
Do we have any perks like a free gym membership, free parking when we go into like meet them in person?
So we will offer parking for the mentorship dinner. I will have to get back to you on perks, Randy.
Thanks.
What happens if you can't attend the in-person dinner?
If you could send me an individual message concerning that, we are requiring the dinner participation because we would like at least to have one in-person interaction between you and the mentee. But please send me an email and we can talk about that a little bit.
Will do. Thanks.
Yeah, related to that, if we're not in the Bay Area, is there any kind of help you can provide with, like a place to stay in your campus or something like that if we did come to the
Yeah,
dinner?
we can definitely chat about that in terms of suggestions for local accommodation.
Okay.
What happens if you don't get any matches?
This is a good question. My hope is that that doesn't happen. I would then probably work with you to see if there's another student who's not in the formal mentoring program to facilitate an introduction. But let's see what happens when we get there. There is one other thing that I wanted to share in terms of Bronco Exchange. So in the handbook, like towards the bottom, there are two appendices, and one of them is focused on privacy settings in Bronco Exchange. So when you create your profile, you can actually adjust your privacy settings so that you're only available for connections with those who are in the mentorship program. So if you feel like your bandwidth is only available for your mentee or mentees, you could adjust your settings in Bronco Exchange so that you're not coming up on requests from other students outside of the program. So just want to make you aware that that's available as well.
That's a great point, Sean. I was just going to add in the same vein of privacy, all of your interactions, other than the initial dinner, of course, can be done just through the platform. So you don't have to share any personal contact information if you don't want to, emails or cell phones. If you want to set up a video chat, that can be done through the platform, or phone calls. It will give each of you a dial-in number to call. So all of that can be handled through the platform. So if anybody has any hesitancy about sharing personal contact information, that's not something you have to worry about.
How would you evaluate the like success of this program?
So towards the end of the program, we will be sending out a follow-up survey. First of all, we want to see, how many interactions you've had with your student. We would be evaluating the students and the mentees separately, because I think success for you would look different than success for the student. Did the student receive, do they feel like confident in moving towards the career that they were interested in at the beginning of the program? Questions that might evaluate, whether they feel like they have a better understanding of their future career path based on their interactions with you. And along the same lines, like, you are not being tasked with finding them an internship or a job. So this is more about career exploration, professional development. If you have connections and you can facilitate an introduction, that's fantastic. But we'll make it clear to students that this isn't about like giving them a personal headhunter or anything like that. This is more about developing their career readiness skills.
I have another question about that dinner in October.
Yes.
Can you remind us, I know you showed this on your screen, but what day we will know if we have a match, if we have to make like travel plans?
Yes, let me just double check the match date. So matches are announced on the 17th of October.
Got it. Okay. So we should probably start making travel plans before then if we're not in the area.
Yes, I would recommend that. And I want to reiterate, like, we want everyone to be matched if possible, but we also want to prepare for any scenario.
Got it.
Okay, so Chaylee, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, asks in the chat, are there any ways that you're wanting us as a mentor to keep track of our mentees' progress? And will there be any other mentor training development apart from your online training that you linked? Okay. Yes. So I think the tracking is kind of up to you. We'll have that like finalized survey towards the end, but we will have some goal setting worksheets that you can work on with your mentee. And I do plan to have a few check-ins with alums throughout the program. So kind of like this, where we can meet in an informal setting through Zoom. And, they can be themed based on certain topics. So if there's anything that you think you might need help on more as a mentor, I'd love to hear that. But yes, we'll have some check-ins throughout the program. Good questions? Alrighty. Okay. Well, please feel free to reach out to me if you do have any remaining questions. I'm going to put my email right into the chat again. And then I will send out later today the follow-up email. So I'll include the slides from today. I think the recording probably won't be available until later day, but I will be sending that out again as well, but also happy to chat with you individually if anything comes up.